So, okay, next to our next topic is going to be La Liga. So, how is your La Liga review, Nick?
It's been a very interesting season, but I think you can't talk about the La Liga without talking about Real Madrid and Barcelona. I think,
Yeah, the champions are Real Madrid.
which is really interesting. I thought that Real Madrid this season pretty much had a very topsy turvy season, but in the end they pulled through. And I think the reason why they pulled through is because of two guys,
Yeah, and the two guys are?
Karim Benzema and Sergio Ramos. That's what I thought.
Yeah, especially without Ronaldo, it's the second season without Ronaldo. And this is the season where Zinedine Zidane came back in his first full season on his second spell. So it's a pretty successful spell. They obviously won the league. So what do you think about their run?
I gotta say, honestly, one of the big things that I thought for them this season was that the fact that Eden Hazard was misfiring most of the season, and all the problems that Gareth Bale had with Zinedine Zidane, the guy that really came through for them was indeed Karim Benzema. I think since the COVID situation and the restart, Benzema has been on par with some of the best strikers in the world.
Yeah, and it's quite shocking. Obviously, he's a very gifted player, but he's on the bets. He's aging, of course. Same with a lot of players in the league, in the Real Madrid. So that's why they brought in Eden Hazard, but unfortunately, Eden Hazard has not performed as he should.
He's looked bad. Just in general, he's not contributed much. The other day when Madrid lost to City, practically nothing from Eden Hazard, in terms of contribution. It's been a poor season for him, and it's not just him. Jovic had a bad season.
Yeah, Jovic as well. He's the striker that they bought that's supposed to be filling in the shoes of Cristiano Ronaldo, and maybe even Benzema itself. But in the end, Benzema stepped up and he won the league for Real Madrid.
I don't know why that is. Maybe because one of the big things with him is he didn't pretty much had the time to acclimatize to the situation.
Yeah,
But I
it's true.
thought that once Benzema hit his form, it was pretty evident who Real Madrid's striker was.
Yeah, that's true. But keep in mind that Hazard and Jovic came in from another league, and Benzema is coming in on his 10 years in the La Liga.
It's his pretty much, yeah. It's been almost a decade, isn't it?
Yeah,
for
I think
Karim Benzema.
2010, 2009.
I think also the other big thing about Real Madrid was the fact that Sergio Ramos came, and Sergio Ramos has been pretty much a leader for this team. He hit some important goals towards the end.
Yeah, he scored double digits, which is unheard of for a central defender. So he stepped up as well as a leader and as well as a scorer.
He could do it all this season. I just thought that in general he was a standout guy, and with those two being the pivot for this team, I felt that was the thing that really drove Madrid over the edge. And it's interesting now because Zidane's got a big summer ahead, and one of the big things he's going to have to think about is what does he do with Hazard?
Yeah, what did he do with Hazard? What did he do with Bale, who's having an issue with Zidane himself? Bale himself doesn't want to play in the remaining matches, as we saw.
I think Bale is doing everything not to play right now, literally.
As well as the City match, Bale was actually fit to play, but Zidane himself doesn't want to play Bale. So it goes both ways.
There's some beef there. I knew there was some beef before this, but the fact that it's gotten this poisonous and this public makes it seriously an issue for Madrid. But even with that, with the basis they had, they were able to overcome this season and have a good finish. They've got Vinicius, they've got Rodrigo, they've got Valverde in midfield. They've got they still got Varane, who, despite the mistakes he made last week, I still think is a very good defender.
Despite the Champions League mistake, he's had a very solid season, especially coming from a World Cup winner, as expected.
Thibaut Courtois completely revived his season.
Yeah, compared to last season, he really stepped up. I don't think Real Madrid should be worried about finding a new keeper for that.
It would seem so at the moment in time. Definitely, I'm curious to see what Madrid does at the edge of this season. But I think it's a championship they deserved. They lasted the race and they won. Because one of the reasons actually they won was because of the collapse of a well-known name.
Yeah, Barcelona, who was the defending champions from last season. So Barcelona had a very bad season, huh?
boy, where do we start with this one? Like, not even, like the Setien thing.
I mean, let's look at the options they had. The emergency transfer. They bought the Braithwaite, the guy that did not perform for Middlesbrough of all people.
Can I just say that whole rule about how they bought people out of season, emergency striker rule, is completely crap. I just think
it doesn't make any sense.
it makes no sense.
It's not fair at all.
I don't think it's fair because it's just, it's one of those things where you can't even first of all, contingencies should have been made before when the transfer market was open. I mean, you're FC Barcelona, for Christ's sake. You could easily go and buy any striker in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, 1 month in January.
But I think
shouldn't happen at all.
A lot of issues around that because despite the fact that Ansu Fati came into prominence this season, and especially the early part of the season, and they had all these players, and Griezmann was there. They just couldn't find a way to make it count towards the end.
Yeah, that's true. It's Griezmann's first season as well in Barcelona. How do you think about him?
It's not been a good season. He's actually done. You know what? To be honest with you, given what Griezmann's had to work with, and given the fact that the team itself, from a tactical standpoint, doesn't look very stable, he's performed amicably better than Hazard, I would say. But I do think that there's some disjointment. I do think that he doesn't fit in their front three, which has been shown. He's been played on the wing a lot.
Yeah, he was a winger this season predominantly.
Exactly.
Which is not really where he shines.
And when he does play in the center of the park, he just gets in the way of Messi, who honestly, what more do I need to say about Messi, right? He's like the freaking god of football or something. Nothing he can do is ever wrong. So it's the fact that Griezmann basically got in the way of Messi, and that whole situation turned out to be how it was. And so now Barca basically have to ask themselves, what do they need to sort out? Because the presidential election for Barcelona is next season, and it's coming soon. Basically, the stuff that's going to happen now is Messi is not signing a new contract at the moment.
Yeah, well, Messi is of course going to be looking for a good payday. He's in his aging age, so of course he wants to be the main guy on top of Barcelona.
I don't think anyone can debate that he's the main guy, bro. Like seriously,
Yeah.
he is the main guy, right? Like, let's not kid ourselves here. It's not, but the thing is, he doesn't want to give the president of Barcelona the satisfaction of having the picture saying, "Hey, look, I signed Lionel Messi. Here, take this one. I signed Lionel Messi to a long-term deal. I'm the greatest ever president of Barcelona." He doesn't want to do that. He wants to just make the guy sweat and say, you know what? You don't buy players, you don't listen to me, I don't sign contract. Simple.
That's true. Just I want to ask you about this. Do you think the loss to Liverpool last season in the semi-finals of the Champions League played an effect to Barcelona this season?
I mean, according to Messi, it did. According to him, it affected their mind and their psyche. But they're Barcelona. Like, this shouldn't be a situation that comes to this.
Not like that. Let's talk about it. Barcelona last season did the same thing. They had the same issue from last season where they had not enough strikers. And who did they sign? Kevin Pryce Boateng.
They also signed Griezmann, don't forget that.
Yeah, I mean like last season.
Oh, Kevin Prince Boateng,
yeah. As an emergency transfer. So they did 2 seasons in a row where they did an emergency transfer, signing a very random striker.
All this smells like poor planning, poor just overall management. I do think, though, that one of the good things Barcelona has going for them is the fact that Ansu Fati is looking like an absolute talented player. They've still got Frankie de Jong, who I think they can develop. They've made a weird move recently, getting Pjanic, but I think
Pjanic is in his 30 right now, 30 years old.
Yeah,
he's in an advanced stage of his career.
They got to think about who's going to replace Sergio Busquets. They got to think about who's going to add more firepower for them up front. They got to think about their center backs. I think the only position that you really don't want to touch right now at Barcelona is their goalkeeper, because Marc-Andre ter Stegen has been a heck of a performer for them when he's played. But again, like I said, I feel like the thing you need to circle now is, what do they do with Griezmann? Do they go another season? Do they let him go? What do you think they should do?
Well, honestly, I think maybe he has to work around Messi. But then, I think they should sell him, if you ask me. It's going to be the same issue against next season if he's still there. He's going to be playing in the shadows of Messi.
Well, they got some guys coming through like Puig. He's a player that's coming through in Barcelona right now. They've got Ansu Fati. So I think there's no reason why Griezmann can't be rotated with these players and the midfield can't be rotated around.
I mean, that's true, but I don't think Griezmann should be a rotating player. He should be playing week in, week out. He's a very quality player.
Again, what kind of wages is he on? The COVID situation, finances. You got to think also about the long-term implications that Barcelona have to go through. Are they really going to get the same money that they paid for him? I don't think so in this market. So it's a tough one. I'm not sure where they go from here, but they need to start with getting Messi to resign, because if he goes, that's a really bad thing for Barcelona. From a footballing perspective, from a branding perspective, all of it.
Culturally, everything.
Culturally,
they're going to fail as a club. I mean, if he goes.
I mean, I wouldn't say they will fail as a club, but
no, I mean, that's going to take an effect.
Yeah, that's going to be the thing that you'll see. That's why I'm really quite interested to see how Barcelona's presidential election is affected next season. But like I said, I like Fati, I like Puig. I think that Suarez still looks sharp when he plays, but he was run ragged this season. Completely just
he's already 33, so he's really gonna be old. He has to be replaced by next season, if you ask me.
Yeah.
They have to start planning about Messi as well as Suarez.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that's pretty much. I think Barca has a lot of things. What do you think about Setien as a manager? Actually, I'm interested to know.
Well, he is gonna have. It's gonna be considered a failure this season, because unless they win the Champions League. But then again, even if they win the Champions League, they still didn't win the league. So if he wins the Champions League, maybe he has another season. But if he doesn't, then it's gonna be a total failure for this season.
If I was Barcelona right now, right here, if they don't win the Champions League this season, I'd sack Setien. Just roll the dice with Pochettino.
Oh, if you think, I never thought about that. That's true, huh?
Yeah.
I think if we sack Pochettino, is going to be a very good shout out.
He's Argentinian. He speaks Messi's language literally. And, I mean, in general, he's good at organizing the stuff he has. So I think that he might be an interesting figure. And I think the formation that that Pochettino liked to play in Tottenham is actually quite interesting. If they can make it work with Barcelona, that'll be good. I mean,
yeah, I think Griezmann is going to be quite suitable with Pochettino's style.
Definitely. Yeah. I think that's probably something that'll be interesting. They need
looking at how Pochettino did with Lucas Moura at Spurs, I think Griezmann could be in the same mold. Of course, he's going to be much better technically.
Yeah, definitely. So that's the La Liga roundup. We'll be doing more in-depth thing some other time. But right now we want to move on to the next